If you eat seasonally, which nobody does because everybody goes to the grocery store and every day of the year they have spinach you could buy in the 2-pound organic pack at Costco, right? Every day of the year. In my garden, this spinach is bolting. It's going out. It's gonna end. I won't have it in another month. It's gonna be gone until next year when I'm growing it in the wintertime, right? And guess what? I'm rotating my diet based on the seasons, which is something most people never do because they don't eat what's in their garden. They eat whatever they can buy at the store, and in the store, they import things from all over the world where it's some season anywhere. It's like 5 o'clock anywhere. It's some season anywhere. So you could always have, all the different kinds of foods. And unfortunately, most Americans also, or even many raw vegans, go to the store and every week at Costco, they buy this organic spinach. The same thing every week. I always buy spinach, lettuce, romaine, some bananas, and oranges, and whatever else. Dude, eat locally, eat seasonally, eat out of your garden. This way your diet is always changing. You're never gonna get too many plant toxins of any specific toxin. Visit your local farms if you don't grow your own food. Grow your own sprouts and microgreens, and don't always grow the same microgreens, grow different ones. I mean, another thing, I look at traditional cultures. Man have been living on greens since we emerged from wherever we emerged from, We've been eating greens, and our bodies have become used to dealing with them. If you eat a standard American diet, you messed up your gut, and you're eating a fiberless diet actually if you're eating standard American, because they process all the fiber out of it, so you don't need to deal with it. You've been eating that diet for 10, 20, 30 years. You don't have the microbes that digest fiber. You eat fiber, you get a stomach ache because your body can't deal with fiber because you've never eaten it. Then you eat meat, has no fiber. Oh, your body's just fine because you're not eating fiber. You're not challenging your body. You're not going to create the good microbes. You probably got bad microbes in there that are going to shorten your life, cause more disease in the future. But you know what? That's for you to decide. I recommend that everybody should get a microbiome test to see where you're at so you could optimize your partners in health. Even many raw vegans don't believe in the microbiome. Microbiome science is pretty solid these days that they know there's so many diseases connected with the microbiome. And if you get a good microbiome test, it'll say, hey, eat these foods to increase your beneficial bacteria that you're deficient in. And slowly but surely, don't just go raw vegan overnight or go any crazy vegan. Eat your normal. I mean, this is what I say to people if they want to turn their health around and if they're eating processed junk food for their whole life. Continue to eat processed junk food, 80%, and then slowly slip in 20% of the healthy stuff along with your junk food. But then slowly but surely decrease the junk food and increase the healthy food slowly. Don't just go overnight. Then you're going to be, a person that says, oh, going healthy, eating plants didn't work for me because you tried to do it too fast, too quick, and your body can't change, especially as you get more mature on the planet. Your body can't adjust as quickly as we used to. My goal, Marcus, is to eat primarily first out of my garden. Now, I don't grow everything I need. I mean, I did buy 3 acres in Puerto Rico, so I'm gonna be growing a lot more there, and maybe one day I'll be growing like 90% of all my food in my property, which is 3 acres there. But nonetheless, at this point, I grow all the greens, and some other fruits, and my goal is to eat out of my garden first, and then secondarily, then I go to local farms in the area, pick other local foods that are in season. So actually this week I got some local beets that are just so tender and so much different than the stuff you'd buy in the store. And then I'll go to buy organic, fruits and vegetables and other plant foods, to fill in. So, I mean, that's how I live, and I would encourage more people to live like this, where it's like eating more local foods. I'm not like one of the local war people that say, I only eat what's local, because I think that's not maybe as wise, because once again, being in a certain geographic location is limiting the foods you are eating. Whereas in this world where we have commerce and people bringing things in and importing things, I want to eat all different kinds of foods and have a greater diversity. To me, that's more important. But if, local is your thing, I highly respect that. I think you just got to do it smart. And unfortunately, online, a lot of people in our space markets try to dumb it down. Just eat fruit, you're going to be the healthiest.
Yeah.
No, that's not accurate. I mean, I think the main message is diversity, and then each person needs to find for themselves what ratios of what works for them, and then also work with your microbiome, get a test to see where you're at and what your microbiome may need to dial it in. Of course, also get standard, blood tests to make sure all your markers are in line, and, don't eat supplements because you think you need them to eat. focus on eating whole foods to get all your nutrients so you don't have to take a supplement because your dad's deficient in something, right? If I'm deficient in a nutrient, I'll be like, hey, what plant has lysine in it, for example? Hey, beans have lysine. So then I'll eat certain kinds of beans that are higher in lysine so I get some lysine in me instead of taking a lysine supplement.
Real quick, people are going to mention B12.
B12, very important. I just interviewed a raw vegan on my channel who thought that we could make our own B12. And now when I hold up my hand next to his hand in the video, his hand's totally shaking. And he had B12 damage. He's now more chemically sensitive and all these other things. So, you know, I think that getting B12 is critical, that we don't recycle it. I have also had other friends that are gardeners that basically dig up their dirty plants and eat the dirty plants and all these things, and they were B12 deficient. You know, while it is true there is bacteria in the soil that do make B12, the question is, you know, is it going to get into us? I don't rely on my plants for B12. I do take a supplement. However, there are foods that are vegan that have B12 in them. So like I recently was at the Natural Products Expo, and there's a nutritional yeast, unfortified, from Germany, designed to have B12. You take like, well, I don't know, I forget the amount, but it was like a small amount of this basically yeast that contains B12 because of the way it grew. And then you got your B12. So if you don't want to take something, you could eat this yeast now.
So how do you feel about people saying, well, that proves right there that that you have to eat meat because otherwise you wouldn't get your B12?
So, I mean, we got to look back to nature. So in nature, like did man take B12 supplements? I mean, even these days, not all animals have B12, right? If animals are being fed on a CAFO and being fed, or, you know, GMO corn and soy, those animals don't have B12 in it anyways. These days we are not living in nature. Like none of you guys have, like hardly any of you guys have a garden. You're not connected with nature. You don't go forest bathing. We've lost our connection with nature, and I think that's really the problem with B12, is that we've lost our nature connection. Every food you buy in the store has been sterilized. They don't have any bacteria because they're going to have the next E. coli outbreak on cantaloupe, which was caused by cow poop that had bad bacteria on it. Actually, I read about actually November, there was like an organic carrot had some kind of like, it was recalled, which I was like, whoa, organic carrots, that sucks. But like, it's because contamination problems due to animal products, right? Yeah. And when you eat animal products, guess what? You could be potentially eating the contaminated stuff and get the E. coli. I mean, there's more outbreaks from meats than plant foods because you're directly eating the animal products that could have the bad bacteria in them in the first place. That's why, of course, you should be cooking all your meats.